Good morning and welcome to Victory is Mine with Pastor Andy Stump of Victory Christian Center in Carthage, Missouri. Start your day with a powerful message of hope, faith, and victory in Jesus Christ. Here's Pastor Andy, bringing you encouragement straight from God's Word.
Good morning. Let's go to Romans chapter 14 this morning. I'm going to start with verse 1. It says, "Accept him whose faith is weak, without passing judgment on disputable matters. One man's faith allows him to eat everything, but another man whose faith is weak eats only vegetables. The man who eats everything must not look down on him who does not, and the man who does not eat everything must not condemn the man who does, for God has accepted him. Who are you to judge someone else's servant? To his own master he stands or falls. And he will stand, for the Lord is able to make him stand." I believe this passage is both misunderstood, and even when people look at it or quote from it, they misapply the principles of this passage. The principle in this passage really reflects back to verses 8 through 10, in which Paul speaks about love. If people quote from this passage, they generally use it to defend what they are doing and say, I can do this, and they kind of flaunt what they believe they are able to do. But this whole chapter is not about defending yourself and defending what you believe to be okay for you. Now, while it does speak to that, the principle behind this passage is to look out for your fellow believer and make sure that you are not a cause of stumbling for them simply because their faith is weak. So absolutely, there are disputable matters. We don't necessarily have to agree 100% on the disputable matters. But Paul's conclusion is not, so go do what you want to do, you rebel, you, and don't let anybody bring you down. No, instead he says, be careful that you don't look down or despise somebody who believes and acts differently than you in disputable matters. And then he comes down pretty hard on somebody who judges someone else because it's to his own master he stands or falls, not to your approval or disapproval or your judgment. Now, generally, there are two problems that people apply this term, disputable matters. Sometimes people apply disputable matters to things that aren't disputable. And so we need to be very careful that we're not trying to justify behavior that the Bible calls sin or that the Bible clearly says is not appropriate for those who are children of God. So that's always a consideration. Then the second problem tends to be that people will argue for or reason out that the pet peeve or the pet issue they have actually is sinful, and they'll go to great lengths to prove how it's actually sinful, when in reality it is a disputable matter. I'm convinced that's why we have so many denominations. People get so wrapped up into, no, this is absolutely right, and you are absolutely wrong, and so I'm going to start my whole other denomination over here. And I do not believe that that reflects the Bible, nor does it reflect this chapter in Romans 14, and it does not reflect love for one another that Paul's going to emphasize here in chapter 14. And that love always expresses itself in being very mindful of your brother, to not offend him, judge him, or put him down for what he believes concerning disputable matters. And part of the reason for the caution that Paul expresses here is that your brother will stand not because of himself, but he will stand because the Lord is able to make him stand. So if you're not careful, you're not just coming against a brother who has some funky ideas about eating meat or eating vegetables. You're actually coming against the Lord, because the Lord allows for a variety of thought in disputable matters. Therefore, he's still their Lord. He's still working in them. He's still making them stand. So if you come against their beliefs in a disputable matter, then you're coming against the Lord. And so as we look at the rest of this chapter, we'll be able to see that the principle here is not standing up for yourself, not standing up for your right to believe whatever you want to believe in disputable matters. You still have that ability, but it's with humility and caution that you don't do something that would cause somebody else to stumble. And so we'll see that principle expressed in the rest of this chapter.
Thank you for joining us on Victory is Mine. If you're looking for a church home, we'd love to welcome you to Victory Christian Center in Carthage, Missouri at 13996 Burr Oak Road. Join us this Sunday at 10 a.m. or 5:30 p.m. and experience God's love, power, and victory in your life. You can also learn more about us at vccchurch.org. Have a blessed day.